Hey guys, I am Kori with Kori and Jared Photography, also with Stories with Kori. And today I am hanging out with a very dear friend of mine, Tali Belokonny, creator of Abide Art by Tali. And Tali is going to talk to us a little bit today about her art and her heart for this season of life. Tali and I are good friends. We kind of share the same heart for foster and adoptive mamas, and it has been a joy just to get to know her and her family over the last few years as we work together on Revive, which is a little project of the heart. So, Tali, tell me, who are you?
Okay. Mostly I am a daughter of the unshakable kingdom of God. That is, that's where my roots really are. I am Josh's girl, and we have been married a little over 10 years, and then I have 4 wonderful, unique, energetic kiddos. And yeah, that, just spend my days pouring it out for my people.
Well, and I love if you follow Tali at all on Instagram, but I feel like you are as authentic in person as you are on IG. But I feel like you do just such a beautiful way of capturing photos of your family, but also sharing your heart. And I feel like you do that very artfully, which I love a lot.
Thank you.
I have been the recipient of some of your encouragement. Not today, but literally on our counter is this cute little potted succulent, and with the words like, I think it says, "We're rooting for you," which I love. One, because it's succulent and I can't kill it. We'll have to work really hard to kill it, which I need. Yes. But also just because when I was walking through my accident, like that was just a way that you showed up and you were rooting me on. Yes. And so I am very thankful for that. Tell me about what you do when it comes to Abide Art by Tali.
Yeah. So I use really simple materials, wood, paint, my little wood burning tool, spackle, to create one-of-a-kind pieces. My main goal in creating these pieces is to connect with people. It's an effort to stay present, and it is really it's a source of joy, and it really brings a lot of energy to me to be able to give a piece to someone and just kind of say, I see you and I see the work you're doing, and you're loved. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. I love that one of the places that we've seen your art is also through a Revive retreat. And so you have kind of taken on our creativity portion of our retreat and have created works of art, which we have one that's hanging out in the cottage bathroom, the outside one, but then also some of our backdrops. And so I feel like you find really incredible ways to use your art. So hanging on a wall, but also sprinkled all throughout life.
Yeah. That piece that you have is one of my most favorite abstracts ever, so I'm glad giving it to someone that I
appreciate it
once in a while.
Well, and I know that there were probably 6 of them, right? We used it as a backdrop, and then they were kind of given out, and I have often thought about seeing if I could hunt 1 or 2 more to be able to.
I know who has a few, maybe.
Well, if you are watching and you have one of those pieces, I would buy it off of you.
Yes.
I've got one little one that is lonely and would love a matching mate. But
yes, I love it. That's fun.
Talk to me about how you find time to do your art.
Okay. So I am in a season, let's just be real. We all have limits.
Yeah.
And I am just getting more honest with that fact, not shying away from it, which has really cracked open this whole new way of understanding that God truly doesn't have limits. And it's in this place of me having limited time, energy, etc., and then him having no limits, where some new ideas are being birthed, and new opportunities are available, or I have my eyes are open to see those opportunities that have already been there. So mostly like, I just forgot where I was going.
It's all good. We're talking about fresh perspective, using what you've got.
Yeah. Okay. So, and how do I find time for this? Yes. Okay. So my kiddos are all 7 and under.
Yes.
And I homeschool the older 3, which is a joy and a big responsibility, and something that we've chosen. So that means that there's not as much time and energy, or at least not at the same time, for me to create and turn this little like thing that I tinker with into something more.
Yeah.
But in this season, I am really okay with that. And my eyes are just open to, like I was saying, to see these opportunities that maybe are already on my calendar, like my daughter going to a birthday party. Okay, let's grab some clay and let's form some little beads and let's paint them. Let's string them onto a necklace. And then I've connected with my daughter. She's connecting with her friend. And I'm also, checking that thing off the to-do list in a joyful way.
Right.
Which is, just super fun. So it's really in these little pockets of time that that are not consistent right now, that I am making space to do this. And sometimes I think, is this work worth it?
Mm-hmm.
And I've just,
as a recipient of your work, let me tell you, yes, absolutely it is. So I know it's a sacrifice, but it is absolutely worth it. Like the work that you are doing, it matters. And I think it's, what I love about your story is that you show up with everything that you have all the time, and you are all in with your whole heart when you've got the space to do it, but that it doesn't have to, you don't have to force it. It doesn't have to be all consuming. And that, and I think that's a beautiful thing for your kids to see too, is for you to see their mama at work with that art, loving other people. But I feel like you do such a good job of balance and putting those things in the right spaces.
Yeah. I think my favorite part of like my kids seeing me create isn't even just like the product that emerges, but more so me walking in a place of just like dependence on the Lord. This season is, like I said, full of littles. It's also full of waves of depression. It's full of just the tensions of life that all of us are very familiar with. And I love that they get to see me like relying on the Lord for everything, and coming to grips with the fact that like I can't do it all, but God can. And so I think that's my favorite part. Like sometimes, my little guy will be like, "Oh, Mommy, that's so beautiful." And that's great. But I think what I hope for them to see and to carry with them is just that really beautiful things come from us banking on the Lord and believing that He is who He says He is, that He doesn't have any limits. So that's what mostly I hope they see.
Well, I feel like I see it, and you communicate that very, very well.
Thank you.
So maybe talk a little bit about how you shared that it doesn't have to be fancy to be fulfilling. And so tell me a story. Share a story.
Okay.
Share a story with all of us.
Share a little story. So about 4 years ago, when my kiddos were there was just the 3 of them at that point, and they were all under 3. So talk about limits, just limited time, energy, money, etc. And I had this. Well, I just come out of a season of a lot of hours spent in the foster parent waiting room at our county building. And that room was just kind of
heavy,
really heavy. And there was this little tiny piece of paper on one of the bulletin boards that said, "Nothing you ever do for children is wasted." And I loved that. And so that would like be my little ray of hope every time I was in there. But anyways, I had this prompting to see if maybe we could breathe some new life into that room. So I didn't know if that was an option, but I just made a phone call and was like, "Hey, can we come in and refresh this room for you guys?" So I did get the go-ahead to come in and just refresh the space. So thankfully, I had people around me that were willing to give in various capacities, time, money, through their giftings of painting, etc. And we showed up early one morning before the county office was even open, before the visitation room was open, and just spent like an hour and a half hanging paintings and stretching new fabric around those ugly bulletin boards. And my van was full, another van was full of just an overwhelming amount of clothes, a beautiful new dresser for the waiting room for, so that there was a changing table. I mean, just, we really cared about all the little details.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite part was a piece that my friend Holly and I collaborated on, which was making that little tiny quote about the work we do is not wasted. We blew that up into just this massive piece that we did together. And so now when foster parents walk into that room, they know, okay, this work is worth it. It's definitely not wasted. These kiddos are worth it all. And what I loved was seeing that little me with my little dream of making this space into something a little more uplifting. God just took that and we ended up furnishing 10 of the visitation rooms with new toys and books. And it really was this picture of like what we can do, or what God can do when like we're just okay with the fact that we're limited, but He's not. And He brings in these other people that team up with us. Mm-hmm. And so, that was like, another little marker of God showing me that like if my eyes are just open to see, then He can use me and how He created me to just serve Him well in whatever season I'm in, whatever capacity I currently have.
Mm-hmm. We were on the outside of that whole project. And when you shared that you were going to kind of share that story, it reminded me of like how it's connected to us. Like without even knowing, I don't even know that we were super good friends at that time. But we had given some bedding and a whole bunch of stuff to another friend who then brought it to your project. And so I was like, Tali, there was stuff that we had that was extra special to us that was then I think used in that project. And so that's just that way of like being able to serve alongside of people and support other people who are doing things that they feel called to do, and how that impact there's just that ripple impact of things. And I think the reminder is that we definitely cannot do it alone, and that it is more fun when you have people with you, and that we are like we're kind of limited in what we can do, but yet when we pull our crew together, it's good.
And I think stuff. I want my eyes to be open to that, to not be scared of the fact that like I have those personal limitations, but when I'm connected with others and when I'm using this little, making these little pieces as a way to connect with other people, it really does turn into something that is big and beautiful, and I'm just grateful to be part of it.
That is a beautiful story, beautiful example of how it doesn't have to be fancy
to
be fulfilling.
No. We can show up tired and just work alongside one another, and
and fun. Beautiful things happen.
It's super fun.
Tali, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Abide Art by Tali. I have pictures there of pieces I've done. I love to do commissions. I don't always do them, but I will just be honest up front if it's a season where I can commit to that. But don't shy away from asking me because it's summer. So, now's a great time for me to paint.
Absolutely.
But you can find me there. I'd love to connect with all of you through that little gift of Instagram. I just love it. It's so fun.
And then Tali is actually going to be joining us with a fun giveaway as well. So she is going to be giving away one of her beautiful pieces. And so we will kind of have all of the details on our Instagram and how to find her as we share her story with you. And so I think if there's two things that I kind of take away from your story, I feel like that saying, like, it doesn't have to be fancy to be fulfilling, and to be able to, just to do it with the space that you have. And I feel like you do that so beautifully. You always show up with everything that you've got.
Thank you.
And I am definitely thankful for you. Thankful for your friendship and thankful for your beautiful art that we have hanging in our home.
Thank you.
Guys, I hope you have had a good day. I know we went a little bit longer today, but I think it was worthwhile stuff as you find some encouragement. So, again, I am Kori with Kori and Jared Photography, hanging out with Tali with Abide Art by Tali. And have a wonderful day, friends.